Jackson Roberts here, joined by NBC Sports and Football Night in America analyst Tony Dungy, of course, a Super Bowl winning head coach and a Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee. Coach, it's been a little while since we have last talked. Hope all is well.
Doing great, Jackson. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So obviously, Bills Chargers, big game for Buffalo this Saturday night. Bills, as we were talking about before we got on here, back in the hunt now with a few wins, 3 in their last 4. What do you think the keys are going to be for them heading into Saturday night in Inglewood?
Well, really want to see if they can take the same energy they've had at home and transmit that on the road. If they play with that type of passion and that type of precision, they're going to be tough to beat. We've seen them do it in Buffalo, and it's looked great. Now we've got to see it. You know, we saw Dallas come in there, and we thought they were playing fantastic football. They couldn't take it on the road. Let's see how the Bills do.
What did they do in that Dallas game that stuck out to you?
Well, I've said it every time we've had Dallas on. When you play against the Cowboys, you cannot let their speed take over the game, especially on defense. So you got to pound the ball right at them and be physical and run it and not let their pass rushers take over. And Buffalo did that, and they stayed with it. They've had the capability. But to me, this game, they said, you know what? If you can't stop us, we're going to continue to pound, and we're going to pound until you do stop us. And Dallas never did. And that's the exact way you have to play them.
And to that point, it seems like Buffalo's used James Cook a bit more lately. And it kind of goes to maybe a bit of a trend we've seen since Joe Brady took over as interim offensive coordinator after that Denver game. What differences have you noticed in this Buffalo offense as opposed to when Ken Dorsey was in charge?
Well, I think that's part of it. Having the patience to rely on the running game and the stubbornness maybe to stay with it. It's very easy when you've got a talent like Josh Allen, you've got some of those receivers, you can move the ball through the air so easily. You kind of get enamored with that. But to be balanced, that's what they're going to need in the playoffs. That's what they're going to need to make a run. And they're demonstrating that they can do that.
And they're catching fire at the right time, as we've
Yes.
alluded to. Wins in 3 of the last 4 games, really 2 huge back-to-back wins in Kansas City and against Dallas at home. Um, may seem like an obvious question here, and I know it can change week to week, but you think if you're the rest of the conference, are you potentially worried about the kind of matchup Buffalo can be?
Yeah, if I were a contender, I would say, well, I hope they lose one more game and they don't make it in the playoffs. You know, maybe they can knock somebody off, beat Miami, but I don't really want to see them in there because they're a dangerous team. All that offensive weaponry, uh, their defense can make plays. They've got the kind of hardness, the battle testedness. They've been there before. It's not going to be a new experience for them. So, no, this is not a team you'd say, oh, we really want to play Buffalo in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely a team that is going to raise the eyebrows of a lot of opponents for sure. And of course, a lot of headlines were leading up to that Kansas City game, the Von Miller arrest in Dallas, Sean McDermott's old comments resurfacing about September 11th of 2001. Yet 2 back-to-back significant wins, a lot of support for McDermott in that locker room and from outside of it as well. What does it say about the job he's been able to do in the face of all those distractions, in the face of all that news, to be able to string together, probably 2 of the biggest wins of the year for Buffalo?
Well, one of the tough things to do is when you've got great expectations, is to stay level if things don't go that well. For most teams, getting on a losing streak or being 7-6, teams deal with that. But when you're the Buffalo Bills and you got expectations of AFC Championship, Super Bowl, and now you get those little bumps in the road, it's easy for people, oh, well, they're falling apart, or this is wrong, or that's wrong. But for Coach McDermott, just to keep it on the even keel and say, you know what, we know what this season is all about, playing our best ball in December, January, getting ready to play, navigating the highs and lows. I think that's been the biggest thing.
And with that, with the job he's done, and you got plenty of contenders for this, but to you, would he be in the running for Coach of the Year, maybe?
I think you definitely have to look at it. There have been some outstanding jobs that have been done. You look at what Dan Campbell has done in Detroit and taking a perennial losing team and having them in first place. And it's just what are you looking for? But I do look at those teams that have navigated difficulties and been there. And I'm one of the voters for the All Pro and Coach of the Year. I always wait till the end because it's easy to get mid-season. This team's doing great. This team's doing poorly. This guy's doing well. But I think when you look at what the Bills have done and built this thing, and if they make it into the playoffs, again, as we talked, they're going to be a team that nobody's going to want to play, and people will sit back and say, that Coach McDermott has done a pretty good job this year.
Coach, it should be an interesting one on Saturday, Bills and the Chargers. Can't thank you enough for a few minutes.
Oh, great to talk with you, Jackson. Looking forward to seeing it, and this could lead up to some big Bills games down the stretch.
No doubt, potentially in Miami. I know that's a to be determined game
Yes.
right now. Very well could end up on NBC. That's Tony Dungy, Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, and of course, a Super Bowl winning head coach. Bills and the Chargers on Saturday night exclusively on Peacock.